we've got monsters, goblins, a guy who likes to scare you, and a makeup artist who can turn anyone into a ghoul. Maybe I'll let him work on me. All of that next on Lakeshore Focus.
The Indiana University Northwest School of Business and Economics is the only public institution in the region to hold AACSB International accreditation. The program provides undergraduate business education with a balanced curricula based in leadership, teamwork, and technology. IUN serves both traditional and non-traditional commuter students in a diverse urban environment. Learn more at iun.edu/business.
Welcome to Lakeshore Focus and our special Halloween show. We are looking at important events and interesting people in a different way this week. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. Fall has become a time for an extended version of Halloween with haunted houses, outlandish costumes, and scary parties taking up most of October. Joining us today are a cast of characters which include Councilman Mike Forbes from St. John, who manages the Lake Hills Haunted House. Wait a second. I want the real guy here. We need the real Mike on here. There we go. Mike and special effects makeup artist Alan John McCafferty. Welcome. I see you guys have brought a few of your close friends with you.
Yes, we
Absolutely.
So, are these characters from the haunted house? Is that the deal, Mike?
Yep, they are.
So, how did you decide to pick these specific ones?
Just wanted to show a bit of a range, different rooms in the haunted house.
I'm a little concerned about the young lady behind you. I mean, are you guys a little concerned that she's got your back?
Yep, Betty's got my back.
Betty, does she have the name?
Yes.
Betty? Do the rest of these have a name?
Yeah, this is Stash,
Stash?
and that is Psycho Sam.
Oh, good. I get to sit by Psycho Sam. This is terrific. So, Alan, you do all the makeup, not the makeup for these, but the makeup for the people who work at the haunted house and stuff?
Correct, yeah. I work at Reaper's Realm Haunted Attractions, and I've been doing makeup there since 2008. Then I do makeup at home as well. I've been doing makeup since I was about 12 or 13 years old. Started off as a small-time hobby, and then started doing makeup for friends that were older than I, that would go out to different parties, and they started winning costume contests, and it just kind of blew up exponentially. It's kind of manifested into this weird culture that just kind of fell into it. It was very interesting.
So this is a big, busy time of year for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, Mike, you've been running this haunted house, right?
Yes.
So for how many years? I mean, how long has this been around and so forth?
Lake Hills has been open for 10 years. I've been running it for 8.
Wow. So, I mean, how many people go through this place every year?
3,000-4,000.
Wow. So, at how much a ticket?
$15.
$15 a ticket. So, the town makes a little money off this?
We do. It's always profitable.
So where do you get the people, how many people volunteer? I guess they volunteer?
Yes, they
to
do.
help? So how many people help with this whole operation?
We range anywhere between 90 and 120 volunteers every year.
Wow. And how many of them get makeup?
All of them at ours.
All of them? So anybody who's working, how many people do you have to make up then?
Well, we have a team of makeup artists at Reaper's Realm. It's usually, I handle all of the heavy prosthetics, all of the more elaborate makeup, and usually I will do maybe 9 or 10 people a night. But we have hundreds of actors that come in and get makeup done, and we have about a 2-hour process to do all of them. So something that I would typically do at home that would take maybe 2 hours to do, I have to get it done in about 20 minutes there. It's a very, very sped up process.
So none of the people show up with their makeup on. They come and then have the makeup put on there, Mike? Is that the way it works?
The last couple of years, we've been noticing that more and more of the volunteers come with some makeup on. If they want more, we touch them up.
So how does that work, driving your car looking like that? How does that, because you've made people up and they've probably driven away. I mean, you got some good stories about people being stopped by the cops or anything? Or
No, I don't believe any of them would stop. But,
Yeah, I had many. Yeah, doing makeup for my friends, doing makeup for family members and myself as well. I did makeup for one of my friends in college, and she went to a gas station, and the gas station attendant actually did call the authorities, and she had to explain herself and give him my business card and say, no, it's just makeup. I'm going to a party. I'm totally fine. They're like, no, if you're hurt, you can let us know. Like, no, seriously, it's makeup. It's okay.
oh, so they thought she was hurt, not just scary, but
Right,
really,
yeah.
really hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
very
interesting.
It-
Well, so I want to ask, could you actually make me
Yeah,
up?
absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
You could do that?
Sure.
Okay, so let's try that, and then we'll let the people see how that's done. Okay?
Sounds great. Yeah, definitely.
All right. All right. So here's the results. Alan, I look like I got in a fight with a werewolf or something. I'm not sure.
Something kind of what we were going for, right?
So now, how do you know what you want to put on somebody? I mean,
It depends. This was more of an improvisation. Usually we're given a prompt, so we'll be told a specific character, and we have creative license, so we're able to do certain things to kind of make it original. But if it's something like this, then I kind of create a scenario in my head of what exactly happened, what I would like to do, and then you actually have to almost like pretend you have X-ray vision and look through their face and look at the skull and look at the contouring and how the skin sits on top. Very anatomic, I guess you would say. Where
So what was the scenario in your head for this, for me?
like you said, werewolf actually. Good call.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely. Why not?
So, well, good guess. So if this is my audition, am I available to work at the haunted house?
I think we have a spot for you.
Yeah, you've got a spot for me. So what would I be doing, you think? Scaring the small children? Or
Yes, small children. We could probably have you work the line. Just come out the front door and act like you were injured inside or something.
Oh, there we go.
We could
so,
do that.
So do you dress up for these things?
I do not.
Mike? So this is your regular costume.
This is me.
This is you. So a couple things about the haunted house business, because I mean a lot of people probably don't know much about this. I mean, what do you do with the people who are just like really get scared? I mean, are you able to tell? I mean, the people who are.
Oh yeah.
What do you do when somebody is like having a panic attack or something?
If it's severe enough, the actors know that they need to stop. We get the security up there. We shield the people and guide them out. A lot of people on their own will find the nearest exit door. And we actually have to chase them to make sure, did you make this decision to leave on your own, or did you leave accidentally? If they left on purpose and they go, they go. But we always try to bring them back in if they left accidentally.
Alan, what's your role after you do all the makeup with everybody? I mean,
After everybody's done at the haunted house, I usually clean up, pick up all of the mess, because again, we have like 14 or 15 makeup artists. So I'll clean up all of that, and then I'll stay until break time and do touch-ups, because half the time the actors are very vivacious. So they're always running around and jumping and sweating, and sometimes the makeup tends to run, sometimes it tends to fall off, especially if you're wearing a heavy prosthetic. So I'll be standing by in the meantime and helping out with other odds and ends too. Working for them is it's a very conducive environment, so I don't mind doing other things or going out getting a chili cheese dog or something, But yeah, usually just hanging around behind the scenes and waiting for people to come up and get some touch-ups.
So I've always wondered, because everybody in these haunted houses always has the chainsaw, right? Everybody's got the chainsaw. Are those real?
No.
So what's on they sure look real.
They're-
So what's on the blade?
We have a couple of different props that we use. There are some outside actors that have actual chainsaws that have no chain on them. I believe what they did was they've taken beef jerky and attached it in place of the blade, and it looks as though the chain has gone through flesh. The other prop that we have, it's completely plastic, but it looks very realistic, and it has an electric motor in it, or a sound effect that sounds exactly like a chainsaw, but you don't get the gas emissions from it.
What's the scariest thing at the haunted house, you think? What are people mostly scared by?
It depends on the people. There's people who are terrified. They can't do our claustrophobia scene. Clowns. I am asked constantly, do you have clowns in the haunted house? So
What is up with people and clowns? I don't get that. What's the scary thing about clowns?
it's just a basic fear in some people. They can't fight that fear. I don't know what it is. Of course, our clowns aren't your typical looking circus clown.
That's true. They're a little psycho.
They're a little
right?
psycho
Kinda
looking.
like Psycho Sam here.
Absolutely.
Okay, maybe not the mask, but kind of similar. So, what's the scariest? What's your scariest makeup? I mean, like something you do is like, this really horrifies people if I do this.
Oh, mine would be, clowns are definitely a big one. Clowns are definitely a big one. And then something similar to what you have, but actually incorporating prefabricated prosthetics so that it actually has depth, it actually has dimension. That's where you get the confusion, where people actually think that it's real. I've had that happen to several of the people that I've worked with. And then zombies, I have been working with this company out of London, and they've been sending me some prosthetics, and you look like a totally different person. You couldn't even tell who you were. And those are the ones that capture the most attention. Those are the most frightening because they are legitimate, like, wounds. Like, they look very, very real.
So, do you have zombies in your place?
Yes, we do.
Quite a few? Is it a whole gang of zombies or just a couple?
Well, quite a few.
Quite a few.
Yes, we have a plethora.
So what do you do? There's one person, the person who gets really scared. What about the person who is there to prove that they're a man? They're not scared of anything, and they really kind of try to disrupt. I mean, I think have you seen that? I mean,
Oh yeah,
the people
it happens all the time. We treat them no differently than anybody. We do our show. Whatever their response is, they respond accordingly, and we move them on. There's not much opportunity for them to disrupt the operation because of the natural flow of the inside of the house.
But if they try to destroy something, or you kind of go like,
We're right there.
you're out of here.
Yes.
How many of these places are around? Because you work for how many of these?
I work for one, and then I
Okay.
work out of my house as well, and I do different charity events. I do different local events as well. It's usually whenever I get a phone call, go out and do some work on location. I know in the early 90s, there were only a handful of haunted houses in Northwest Indiana, but now the industry has actually kind of blown up in the last 10 years or so.
What is the competition? How many, roughly, haunted houses are around?
Right off the top of my head, I can think of 25 that are probably in this area, and there are literally hundreds within 60 miles of Chicago.
Really?
Yeah.
There's that many of them?
Yes.
And you just work at one, and it takes a team. How many people are working? Which one are you at again?
I'm at Reaper's Realm Haunted Attractions.
Okay,
Yeah, with
so
Haleska
you're at
Enterprises.
Reaper's Realm. That's one of the big ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
How many people are kind of costumed up and working in that place?
I would say approximately 100 actors, give or take, on any given day. Yeah.
What's the profile of somebody who wants to dress up like this and be an actor for these events? Is there a profile, or is it just?
I've seen all kinds of different people come in that want to do this, from the meekest high school student to I have a lady that signed up now that has a prosthetic leg, and she wanted to be part of the show. And at the end of the day, and I think you touched on this, the makeup draws the person out, and it just changes them, and it allows them to break through.
So when you're doing the makeup with somebody, Alan, I mean, are you talking to them about?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, do they look in the mirror as they're doing this, or do you kind of, after they're done, show them and they?
There's usually a mirror. They're facing the mirror. Sometimes I'll turn them around so that I can get a better angle, you know, because it's kind of like I'm looking at different angles to see how the effect is going to change as people are walking through the house. And sometimes they'll be looking, sometimes they'll wait. But I do like to talk to them and make them comfortable because a lot of people are apprehensive. A lot of people come in and they're not really familiar with wearing special effects makeup. So you kind of have to explain to them every single step as you're going along so they don't get uncomfortable, and make sure that they know, the whole process. Break it down for them as friendly as possible, which isn't a problem at all. And then at the very end, they're usually mortified at their own look.
Do you coach them? And do you both kind of coach people as to what to do, kind of based on how they look and so forth? I mean, what do you say to them? I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Through the whole process, as they get more familiar with the room that they're in, they ask our more veteran actors, does this work, does this not work? The costume and the room, when you combine those two, it just creates a performance all on its own.
okay, so coach me. What am I supposed to do? If I look like, I do look like this. Not if I look like this, I do look like this. So if I look like this, how am I supposed to act or talk, or what am I supposed to say or do?
I would say the most conducive effect is to be talking or vocalizing the least amount. So it would be just kind of like lurching, groaning, something along those
Or
lines.
nonverbal stuff.
Right, precisely,
where you
yeah.
Move.
Absolutely. Groans maybe. Try to talk backwards if you could.
Talk backwards. How do you do that?
I haven't mastered it yet myself, but
Is that
I've
something
seen.
you tell people? Talk backwards?
No, I tell them to chant, sing. Singing makes people very uncomfortable.
Really?
Yeah.
Like what? Like singing?
Any
what
song,
kind of thing?
just
Any
as they
song.
walk by, start singing to them.
Can you demonstrate this for
I
us?
cannot sing.
You cannot sing.
I cannot
Usually
sing.
children's children's songs.
Ring Around the Rosie.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, definitely. Those seem to be the most chilling.
Really?
Yep.
So singing or chanting. So what's a chant like? I mean, what are you chanting?
Thinking when you mentioned that, I would think like we,
I can't find my mother.
improv,
find
total
my-
improv, or
something.
something of voodoo chanting, if you could improv that as well, something along those lines.
Wow, this must be kind of interesting to do. I mean, do you guys really, you must enjoy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, so you get to do this really kind of once a year. I mean, how do you get your fix of this the rest of the year?
I survive on October. I'm good. I don't like rushing the seasons. October's for Halloween, and we're open for 13 days, and that's plenty for me.
So you kind of get that fill, but you do this all the time.
Yeah, exactly. There are several different events throughout the year in Chicago mostly. You have the Zombie March and the Zombie Prom, and I believe a couple years ago they did Zombies on Ice. So, you got people coming in, and not only that, April Fool's Day is a big one too. People trying to play pranks on their mothers. Gotten in trouble quite a bit for that, definitely. It's just, and sometimes people just come up to you out of nowhere. They're going to a zombie-themed party at some point in time, or a band that wants to do something kind of unconventional in the middle of the year. You never know, as a makeup artist, where these people are going to come from. It's almost a culture of its own. It's really, really, really interesting to see these people kind of come out of the woodwork and have the interest that they do in something like this that you wouldn't think is very typical.
You know, and until you said that, I hadn't really thought about this, but these things kind of come in waves, because back when I was a kid, it was the vampires and werewolves, and then we went through a long period of time of kind of aliens.
Yeah.
You know, and now we seem to be in the zombie phase and have been for a while. That's like the big thing, right? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Does that sound like kind of the trend lines?
Oh,
Over
absolutely.
these years?
So, yeah,
And
definitely.
they seem to last 10, 15 years or something, right?
Seems like the zombies have really hung on.
Yeah.
There's so many movies. There's so much flexibility with what zombies do that everybody's really hung up on those.
And zombies are actually I feel like a lot of the movies have some sort of satire behind them. Like if you look at George Romero, the first movie that he made was all the zombies were very slow moving, which was a reflection of the culture becoming stagnant as a society. And then the newest movie that he made, not the newest, but the remake of Dawn of the Dead, they were all fast moving because there was a satire of how quickly we try to get things done, the fast-paced lifestyle, the lack of interpersonal communication that we experience now in the 21st century.
I never thought there was so much behind this. World War Z, they were pretty fast in that
Right,
movie.
yeah, absolutely.
They were
Yeah.
moving along. So what got you into this? We're down to a couple minutes, but what pulled you into this thing?
As a councilman, it was one of our events. I took it over just to make it run properly, efficiently, and safely, and that's all been set aside because working with these kids, the young adults, has just been phenomenal. I enjoy working with this group so much. That's what I look forward to every year.
This could be a whole new strategy. We're always trying to talk about how to get people in elected office. Get in elected office and you get a fun job.
This is the fun part, yeah. There's no doubt about that.
So you kind of talked about how you just kind of fell into this in some ways and just loved it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was a kid, my parents took me to Universal Studios and I saw Frankenstein walking down the boulevard, and I was the only kid that wasn't afraid. I actually walked up and got his autograph, and I asked my folks about it, and they said he was a monster created by a mad scientist, and that's when my career endeavors changed. I knew that I wanted to be a mad scientist when I grew up, and this is the most comparable, the closest that you could possibly get.
So do you make a living at this?
Somewhat, yeah. During the season, yeah, it can be profitable. I teach classes at hair salons as well from time to time when they're available. And yeah, it definitely has grown. Like I said, it started off as just a hobby, and then my friends would go out and then they'd give out my phone number, and I had people calling my house. My dad's like, what's going on? You know, these people are calling, they want you to make them a monster. I'm like, okay, tell them to come over, you know, and it just kind of grew exponentially from there over the last 10 years or so.
So is it okay if I maybe take one of these home for my wife to see tonight?
I'm going to need these back.
Oh, you're going to need them back? Man, that's really too bad, because that would have been kind of fun to sit one of these in the living room tonight. But I don't know if she would appreciate it as much. So we're down here right in the end. Just kind of a quick, where's your place at? And
Lake Hills Haunted House, 8640 West Lake Hills Drive in St. John, Indiana. We're open every weekend in October, and our website is lakehillshauntedhouse.com.
And you're done October 31st?
Yes.
Okay, so how about the place you're working at?
Well, I work at Reaper's Realm, but I also do makeup at home, and I have a Facebook page. It's called Mr. Bones Makeup, MisterBones Makeup.
Okay, so and how about Reaper's Realm? When's it?
Reaper's Realm opens next weekend, I believe, and they are located right off the expressway, right off of Calumet Avenue.
Easy to see, and they go to October 31st also?
Correct,
right?
yeah.
Well, listen, thanks for being on the show, and you know, I'm probably going to try to wear this the rest of the day, so I may be emailing you and telling you how it goes.
Yeah, let me know.
See if I
would
get
love to
stopped by
hear
the
it.
cops or something.
We'll see what happens.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank
Really
you. Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Thank you.
It seemed appropriate that we should talk about the concepts of fear and scare following a show about scary and fearful things. Humans often confuse these two words while not truly understanding the meanings. Fear is an emotion. It is a triggered response to a perceived threat to life, health, or anything that is considered valuable. Being scared can be a temporary thing. When a person jumps from a dark corner and screams at you, you react. Whether you scream your lungs out, run away as fast as you can, or grab the person with the intent of doing bodily harm, you have a response. Scare is usually momentary, while fear is long-lasting in nature. We might fear our health deteriorating, an important relationship being severed, or losing a job. It's interesting to note that fear derives its existence from a perception. We believe that something is a threat. One person may be petrified of mice, while another person could hold one in a hand. The thought of being rejected by another person may send someone into a near panic, while another would think, time to move on to more fascinating people. Fears can seem devastating to some and trivial to others. During the season of the year, it's intriguing to consider how large groups of people seek to be scared. My wife is definitely not in that category. Years ago, I learned my lesson after pouring ketchup on my arm and reaching around the corner to grab her. That was the last time I ever did that. Maybe being scared is a way to escape true fear. We subconsciously know it will be temporary and is ultimately not real. Real fear may never go away. I believe that most of us don't recognize our fears, really understand them, or are willing to face them. Fear is actually a natural response that can serve a good purpose like fight or flight, or it can create a negative result such as being incapable of a response. We just have to figure out the difference. I hope these thoughts have not frightened you or made you afraid to even think about it. If it has, go rent a horror movie. Quickly drive over to the nearest haunted house, or just look in the mirror and scream. Maybe that will take your mind off it. Thanks for watching, and what did you think of this show and me? I want to hear from you. Your comments can be emailed to us at focus@lakeshorepublicmedia.org. If you like this show and want your friends to watch it, tell them to go to our website, click on the television tab, scroll down to Lakeshore Focus, and watch the show. At least they get to see what I look like with this makeover. Join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.
The Indiana University Northwest School of Business and Economics is the only public institution in the region to hold AACSB International accreditation. The program provides undergraduate business education with a balanced curricula based in leadership, teamwork, and technology. IUN serves both traditional and non-traditional commuter students in a diverse urban environment. Learn more at iun.edu/business.